Hello and welcome to the Anthrozoology Podcast. Today we are excited to welcome Dr. Irina Frazin, who is a researcher at the Institute of Social and Economic Research, Romanian Academy, Iași branch, with a background in philosophy and history. Dr. Frazin taught Greek philosophy for about a decade, and she now focuses her research on anthrozoology, moving from intercultural communication to interspecies communication. Dr. Frasin is also a co-editor of the series of books Anthrozoology Studies. Welcome, Irina. We're excited to talk to you over the next 2 episodes about 3 aspects of your work: your cat research, your new anthrozoology course, and the wonderful Anthrozoology Symposium. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can take a dive into your cat research. I believe you have an article coming out soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here and to be able to talk to you about my work and my activities. So thank you so much for having me. A little bit about me. I think my coming to this field was not the usual way, because everybody who is, at least most of the people I know who are working in this, they always been loving animals, and since childhood they've been passionate about that, and so on and so forth. For me, things didn't go this way. Growing up, I didn't have animals around. My parents were very weary about that. They are both doctors, and they were having the conviction, that having animals is not really clean. They are disease vectors, and so on and so forth. So each time we were, as children, we were trying to get close to animals. We were taken aback a little bit to keep clean and safe. So I didn't have too many animals growing up. I would have loved to have, but it was not the case. Plus, the idea that the place of the animals was out there and they were not well received in the home. This was also the case with my grandparents, where I spent a lot of time growing up. So no close relationship with animals at all. My background, as you just said, it's in philosophy mainly and history. I always liked to be in between fields of study, and my PhD also, it's something like that. I've been researching through the lens of philosophy, the history of Alexander the Great, whom I love dearly. And it was really something a little bit strange. A little bit strange for the historians. It was a little bit too much philosophical, and a little bit too much strange for the philosophers, because it was too much history in there. So working in between fields was always my passion, because I think there in this kind of communication, it's where you find new things and new ways and new views and new ideas and so on and so forth. But my coming to this field of anthrozoology came quite strangely when I adopted my first cat. So like 15 years ago, my cat will be 15 years old this year. I adopted Bubus, my cat, and she changed my life completely and my research focus. I was, as you said, passionate about classical studies, and I studied classical Greek and Latin and so on and so forth. And from there, I moved slowly towards animal studies. First of all, because I had a desperate attempt to understand my cat. I adopted my cat, but I didn't know anything about cats. And for the first 2 years of her life, she was very sick. So I visited out of vets, and I tried to understand how she felt, when she's not feeling good. How is she feeling? What she wants, what she needs, all that. So first of all, I asked my cousin, who is now a professor in the Faculty of Biology, to put me in contact with somebody who is studying cats, felines, or something, to get an idea about what I'm dealing with. And he told me, like, no, we don't have a colleague to study this. No way, no. Go to the veterinary faculty. Maybe you'll find something there. So it wasn't really helpful. I didn't find much like this. So this was the time when I started digging, because, I'm a researcher. So this is the work that I do. I do research. So I started reading and searching and so on and so forth, starting to learn a little bit more about cats. And in this way, I came across human animal studies. And I told my colleagues at the institute, I remember very well, it was like 2014, 15, something like this. I told them, do you know that there is a field who is actually studying animals from our perspective, meaning the social science and the humanities? I mean, it's not all about biology and veterinary medicine like we were thinking. We can have a say in that, and it's something really, really interesting and really possible. So from there on, slowly, I started to get colleagues being interested. Then I met other colleagues who said, coming from archaeology, yes, that animals were really having a great role in the communities of ancient humans and so on. It's really something interesting. We have to look into that. And slowly, this is how the idea of the symposium started, because I said, okay, that there must be others who are studying this in Romania. Because here we obviously had no clue. We were interested in that, but we had no clue. So I had a tour of the country and searched about other people interested in this. This is how I went to Cluj. I met Alina Rusu, who is uh, now having a master's study in ethology. But at that time, she was just having a class in the Faculty of Psychology of Animal Psychology. So I went there, had a little bit look in that, and asked her, would you not like to come to our team to develop this a little more? And I tried to find in Bucharest and Timișoara and other places, but well, there were people in the beginning. They answered. We kind of kept the connection a little bit, but then it was kind of lost on the way. So the main focus is between us and Cluj. Now we are working together to have this symposium going on. And the idea was to get people who are interested in this together, mainly from Romania, because we will get to talk about my course. It is really interesting and important to have these discussions in Romanian, because there are a lot of terms which are familiar to us in human animal studies, but they are not existing, they are not translated yet. So if they are not, even in cat studies, there are a lot of things which we know we talk about in English, but we do not have it in Romanian. And if we don't have the terms, then we can't talk about these realities because practically they don't exist. So the beginning of the symposium and this kind of collaborative work was to bring this into focus of the Romanian academic society to have these discussions going. I mean, to see that there is a new field. There is a new field of study, and we need to focus on that. This is why we stopped with the term Anthrozoology, the Anthrozoology Symposium, because translating into Romanian human animal studies does not sound very well and very promising. So we were left with the term Anthrozoology, but to name our new field of study. So that's about how it started.
Yeah, it's kind of more of a comment than a question. Sorry. No, I just wanted to say, yeah, no, I'm really happy that I think that your Anthrozoology Symposium, I think it was during COVID in 2020 when it first went online. But yeah, one thing I really love about the group or the symposium is it shares a lot of similarities to our own ethos in how we look at human animal interactions and how we consider the other than human animal as being morally, ethically significant and not just as an object of study. So yeah, I immediately felt at home in your group.
Thank you. Well, there is something else important to say. First of all, as I was saying earlier, this symposium was meant to unite researchers from Romania and translating these terms into Romanian. So having a group, in fact, what I was aiming at is finding a study group so we can do something together, because working by yourself it's not really very fruitful. But with COVID, it so came up that we went online. So since that time, we had more people from abroad interested in the field in our meetings than we had people from Romania. So it was really strange. This is how we started with the series of books. The first two books in the series are in Romanian. I translated the articles that other people sent to have it in Romanian, exactly to have it addressed to the Romanian students so that they can find this and understand what we are talking about. But then, under the pressure of having too many articles into English, it was just not makeable to translate it. Plus, we had a lot of interest from other people who do not read Romanian, so we didn't want to limit ourselves to that. But having these discussions in Romanian, I think it's really important, because otherwise we cannot bring it to the community here, to the public here, in the attention. I mean, bring these matters into the attention of the Romanian public to know what we are actually dealing with.
So how difficult is it to get everything translated? Do you have an actual translator? You have to hire somebody, or you do it yourself?
No, I do it myself, actually.
Wow.
I do it myself. And sometimes when I step into difficult terms for translation, I can't give you now an example. It just comes on the way, you know. And like othering, for instance. We don't have translation for othering in Romania. But I actually talked with a good friend of mine who is working in gender studies. And you know that there we have also the same problem with difficult translations and so on. And so how we should name this thing, how we should translate it, because you know, if we are the first ones to do it and to bring it into the language, then maybe it will stick. Our translation, it has to be good. Otherwise, well, some other people might find better ways of translating things. Anyway, I'm very happy now to have my students and to talk with them about this kind of things, because they are all of them are speaking English, which is great, because the materials for the course, we don't have many in Romanian, as you might imagine.
So that's how your course fits in. So you've seen a gap that needs a Romanian language course for students in Romania to learn about the cat and dog, or all sorts of anthrozoology, I guess, in Romania, within Romania.
Yeah, wow. I can tell you a little bit about that. How it started with this need that we don't know about it, and there are a lot of. I mean, when I first talked about this at the university, there was a lot of interest, and even staff from the university, they kind of, what? This is looking really interesting. It's something that, why we didn't think about it before? So you found something really nice. So and there are students who are actually very much interested into this. Unfortunately, there is some bureaucracy around that, and initially I was imagining that it's being an interdisciplinary course, then it should be open to students from different disciplines, because you know there may be students from philosophy or maybe from history, psychology would be interested in having this kind of conversation. But unfortunately, we have to focus to, this is how the things are working here, to target a special faculty, a special group of students and so on. Well, they can't, they can attend, but we do not advertise this course to other students. So they actually don't know about it, only if their colleagues will spread the word and so on. We'll see how it will go. But actually, the course was for the Faculty of Philosophy. So I thought about bringing the discussion into the attention of the students of philosophy by bringing the philosophers who talked about animals into their attention. So they learn about these philosophers in other disciplines, and then maybe we should see how these philosophers that you already know were thinking and talking about animals and our relationship with animals. So but not only this. We had to discuss a little further. I was really very curious this year to see how the students are seeing our future in this. I mean, our future with them, not the future of the human animal studies, because it's something they just learn about that it's existing, but the future of human animal relationships, how they see it, because you know we live in a world with a lot of challenges, and they are young and they are having a lot of ideas. And I was just telling them that they live kind of live in a new paradigm from us. So I was just very curious to learn from them, to understand their perspective, because we are kind of coming from different places. So it was really a nice experience.
So the course is live now. You have students on your course.
Yeah, actually this year I had 5 students.
Okay. So so how long is the course? Is it over a year, over several years, or?
No, it's just a semester. It's just a
Okay.
semester. Yes, it's just a course for a semester, and now it's an extra course. So they take it just because they are interested in it. They are not obliged to take it.
And it's in the Romanian language.
It's in the Romanian language. Yes, all the courses are in Romanian here in the Faculty of Philosophy. There are other faculties who are open to students from abroad, but this anyway, in the philosophy, for instance, just to have an idea, in total we have 14 students this year of philosophy, so it's not many.
So if there's somebody who speaks Romanian but isn't living in Romania, would they be able to enroll on this course? I'm assuming it's in person at the moment, but even if they wanted to go in person to your academy, would they be able to do that?
Yeah, actually the course is open. From the 5 students, they were not all from the Faculty of Philosophy. They came from the, how to call it, social sciences. They were the people who will be social workers. I don't know how you.
Yeah.
So they were really interested in studying the human-animal relationship, because the violence, joint connected violence between human and animals, and so on and so forth, and the animal-assisted therapies and all that. They heard about it, but they don't know what it is. So they were really interested in this. So I had some special meetings with them to get them some connections, some materials to further study this. But there is really a need of this kind of study and this kind of discussion. But unfortunately, the things are not completely open, but they are starting to open up slowly. So
is it? Sorry, go ahead.
No, the more interest from the students, then the faculty will feel kind of obliged to respond to that, and it's a circle going on. So that's why I'm happy if they are coming, even if they don't actually get a reward for that. I mean, it's an extra course. Yes, you get a certificate that you did it, but you don't have credits or anything added.
Okay, so it's an in-person course. It's not online.
No, it's not online. I have ideas about developing it further and bringing guests and so on and so forth, but it has to be growing a little bit so that we have a better arrangement, so to say, in the university, so we can actually do that.
It's really exciting. I mean, can I ask, how did you manage to fund it, or did you just do all the work yourself and get agreements with the academy?
Well, actually, this is complicated because theoretically, the extra courses should be funded by students paying for them. And I don't find this really good. I mean, I'm not okay. The students should get the knowledge because, this is for free. They're universities, they are going for free. So I volunteered for everything. So this is how we got it. Because if the professors don't accept this idea to make it for free, then they can't add a new discipline because, well, if the students choose to pay, then possible. But me, I didn't even want to try this because I don't see they should be doing that. I mean, they should be just thinking about learning, not about other things. I mean, they shouldn't be working for money. This is in another place. So yes, I volunteer. I find that there is the need for this, and this is, if I can do it, I should do it. This is how I think about it.
And it's so important on so many levels, like you mentioned, with the social workers. I mean, there is that need to understand the bonds people have with the companion animals, and they can't just give it away. So it's so important from all animals, not just the animal welfare, but the human welfare.
Exactly. Everything is connected, If people understand this special bond, that the abandonment should be viewed in a different way. I mean, this is connected with my cat work, because what I'm trying, in fact, to develop, it's a network of people who can step in for this. Because, if you, for instance, because we are talking about social workers, we have a lot of old people going into institutions and their pets get abandoned. Not anyone fault or anyone's mistake. It's just the way things go. And if they cannot find relatives to adopt them immediately, then they are simply left in the streets. So they are adding to an already existing problem. So we want, I mean, if we acknowledge the importance of this bond, maybe we should reimagine how we view the institutional homes. Why not leave the animals with them? There is an important movement now. It's happening already in Cluj, and I'm so happy for that, that students are allowed in the dorms with their pets.
Good.
In fact, it's not their pets because this thing is connected with fostering programs. So we don't have many people fostering because it's something really very new for us. But students in the veterinary medicine, many of them miss their pets at home. So if they are missing their animals, then they can't adopt animals because they are just for several years there and they don't know what will happen and so on and so forth. But they can foster. So this is helping the animals, this is helping the NGOs who are dealing with this, and this is helping the students. So it's a win-win situation. So why not have it here? Why not having it in other places?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely great. I was in a seminar, actually, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about pets in housing. And I don't know if you know Cats Protection in the UK, they have a fostering system for families fleeing domestic violence that can't, so the cats can be sent to foster homes where they stay until the family has a safe has a safe home again. And yeah, I think that's sort of ideal for, like you said, students that are in dorms that don't know that future. They can't commit to 10, 20 years, but they can commit to a semester of looking after
yeah, exactly. And they are
it's so important, and for it's a win-win, right, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a shame if they have to be in a shelter in an animal shelter in a cage for 6 months,
or even worse, on the street, because they can't be picked up, for sure. So is that happening in Romania at the moment, or with NGOs in Romania, or is it something you're looking to?
No, it's already started to happen in Cluj, but it's a very small level. It's like, let's say, a trial, a pilot, a test thing.
Yeah.
But we want to extend it. Unfortunately, there are also problems with the dorms because, well, we had, for instance, I'll just give you an example. For instance, we had a problem where a cat was adopted. In this case, it was not fostering; it was adopted by somebody who took it in a dorm, and then the cat fell from the window because the windows do not have nets in a dorm. So there are problems like this, which are making things harder to happen because not everybody is responsible as they should. So when you say, okay, let's go make it this way, they will tell you, yes, but look what is happening. We can't take the responsibility of having this happening again. So It's difficult and it's going in very small steps, but it's a way to go. I mean, it's like you said, leaving the cats in the streets it's not a solution.
Yeah.
Having them in shelters is not a solution either because I've visited the shelters and I really sincerely now I can't tell you if it's worse to be in the street or in the shelter, in some of the shelters that I saw. So really, I don't know what is best. So these fostering programs are kind of a solution right now because we don't have anything better. Yes, if people would volunteer, we had, for instance, an NGO just told me about they are working with somebody in the UK, and those people offered to pay for the fosters to take cats. But we were just thinking if it's a good idea or not, because there are so many people who are doing this just to get the money. So then you don't have any control of that. I say fostering, it's volunteering. I mean, you have to do it for free. If you want to do it, you do it for the cat. It's already very good that you are provided with everything that the cat needs, including veterinary services, litter, and all the food, and so on and so forth. So it's not costing you anything. So you shouldn't get paid for that because otherwise we'll get in a bunch of other problems and we will not know how to sort that.
So, for example, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's you probably are, but there's an ASPCA Meet Your Match program where a potential adopter fills in a series of questions, and then the rescue with the cat basically assesses the cat and then there's a color code that goes on. So the color is then matched with the color. And do your fosters, do the fosters go through some kind of interview process or matching process or something?
No, it's more like, I like this cat, I will take it home.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, there is no time and no, I don't know how to say it. It's too crowded to make this.
Right.
I talked with my friends that I studied the Master of Ethology and so on. And I told them about this program you are talking about with the color coding and so on. And I was just with a friend who is dealing with horses and told me, wow, this is such a great idea. We can do this with horses also, but yeah, we can do it. I mean, it's makeable, but nobody is making it at the moment. Not even with dogs. And dogs pose real threats because they can be aggressive and, ending horribly for the dog mainly. For the people who get bitten, but the dog gets a worse fate because we don't have the job of ethologist. It's something completely very new here. So who is going to make the assessment that you are talking about if there is nobody qualified to do this?
Well, I mean, it is interesting. I'm wondering if qualified is a word that is necessary because experience, if somebody knows, has had the particular cat or 40 cats in a shelter for a few months, it takes some time to calm down and get to know each other. And then, of course, once they've had their vaccinations and sterilised, etc., the behaviour and their personality, behaviour change personalities can come out feeling settled. And then people, it's made to be at a lame person's level, so that it can be very easily filled in. If the cat plays with the toy in this way, that kind of stuff. So it's meant to be expandable. But yeah, I think I think it's a great program because one of the beefs I have about any adoption system anywhere is recycling of cats, because it's almost like, I'm not saying Romania, but from my experience in Saudi, which I think has probably got many parallels to Romania, but people sweep them off the street, get them prepared, not everybody even gets them prepared, and then puts them into homes, and there's no follow-up. And then the cats are abandoned again, and then they get swept up again. They go put into any old home, and it just keeps going on. So I really like the system of trying to match and then also follow up. I mean, that's something. I mean, it will with fostering, but with adoption, it doesn't happen very often. Can you give us some idea of the landscape of Romanian cats, like numbers and basic treatment and views? And I read a little bit in your article, but of course our listeners won't have read that yet.
Well, I can't give you numbers because actually we don't really have reliable sources for that. We just have we don't even have for dogs, only approximation. But actually the cats are far less in the spotlight than the dogs because practically they don't pose too much problems unless you have neighborhoods where people are just very much annoyed by the noises the cats make, when they are season and so on. But otherwise, they are not very visible. And something really interesting, that the cities that have a lot of free-roaming dogs, they tend to have quite invisible population of cats because these cats are just laying low. It's not that they are not there, but they are just laying low. When you take out the dogs from the streets, poof, you find yourself having a lot of cats. Where these cats are coming from, but they were just there, but they are not very much in the open because of the dog, So now we have a lot of programs who are trying to collect these cats from the streets. But as I was telling you earlier, I don't know what is worse than, to collect these cats from the streets and put them in a place. I've visited places because I'm trying to see how I can make a difference. So I need to know, but unfortunately, it's really traumatic to see places where like 20 cats are staying in a very small room with transparent walls and practically no furniture because, furniture is transmitting disease between cats. So if you take cat from here and then you add another one, you don't want things containing microbes to be there. So they don't have practically any place to hide. They are all in the open. they are not, I was asking about conflict. They don't have any conflict because there are so many. But in fact, after that, I just thought, they tell me, no, they are very okay. They are just very laid back. But in fact, they are not very laid back. They are completely depressed. I mean, it's learned helplessness. They simply cannot get away. So they just what we are talking about, assessing. You can't know how they are because simply too much crowded to actually see those cats, And this is why I am all for taking care of the cats in their location. This is the best thing that we can do. Yes, of course, it's not makeable everywhere because in the neighborhoods where people are not cat friendly, you can't force the people to accept the cats in the neighborhood if they don't want to do that. But fortunately, there are a lot of places where people love cats. This is also somehow generating problems because there are a lot of cat feeders, and this is generating conflict because my neighbor is feeding the cat, and look, all the cats of the neighborhood are here, and we don't like this. Plus, if the cats have survival means, they will get without the trap, neuter, return programs because it's something also very new, just starting. In some places there is a lot of experience, but not everywhere. So they don't neuter the cats because there is kind of a public opinion, let them have their life. Then the kittens start to be sick, and the sickness is spreading, and it's affecting, of course, the most vulnerable. And you see kittens dying like 1 month, 2 weeks, 1 month old, very sick, and no matter what effort you make and the vets are making, you can't. If the numbers are growing, the disease is spreading faster, and you get into a circle and so on and so forth. So yeah, we have these things going on, trap, neuter, return programs, but this, must rely heavily on volunteering. So the people have to know about this possibility. You have NGOs. We have, as I told you, we have a few NGOs working on this with their volunteers, but in order to have a real impact, you have to have other people volunteering for that. So they have to know about this. Unfortunately, there is a lot of gaps in the knowledge. This is what I'm trying to do, to fill out these things, because I was in a webinar with NGOs, and they were telling me, well, we are head over heels with the vet work, the trapping, the taking care, the cleaning, all these activities, the adoption programs, and so on. We don't have time to talk about this, to have workshops, to educate the people, to go to schools, to go to different settings, talk about this. I was telling them, yes, but reach out, because there are other people who can fill in for these places. There are people who can do it. It's not, you don't have to. This is something, I don't know if it's Romanian or it's working in other places. People find it very hard to connect and build networks. It's really very difficult here. This is one of the most difficult things to do, because people, I don't know, they kind of lack trust. They are like, we are doing this work and we know how to do it, and don't put your nose in our work because you will destroy it, And it's like, no, it's like this. So if we don't work together, then it's really hard. It's small drops, but if we can work together, we can make a change. So, but it's difficult. It's really difficult to make people trust that you are well intended, and you are not there to criticize what they do. We are just there to show them ways, simple ways, affordable ways to make it better. That's it. That's very sensitive things. You are touching very sensitive things. You have to be very careful about this.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Anthrozoology Podcast, and thank you again to our special guest, Dr. Irina Frazin. References mentioned can be found within the show notes. Please join us again, where we will continue our conversation with Dr. Frasin.